Hello flight simmers, welcome back everyone to the channel and welcome back to the iniBuilds A310, which I still enjoy very much. I think it's a super fun and interesting aircraft to fly, and as I have sort of triggered in the last bit of videos, we will actually today head on the very first long-haul flight in Microsoft Flight Sim, and this is super exciting, especially for me, since to be very honest with you, I've never done a long-haul flight in Microsoft Flight Sim up to this point, so I'm not only curious about the flight itself, but also how the sim performs. Usually does, or I know it from back from P3D that sometimes on longer routes the sim performs different compared to shorter routes and all this kind of stuff, but I hope this does not slow us down today at all. So we are sitting here at Vienna in the Austrian Airlines livery, the old one of course, looks kind of fancy in my opinion. And we are flying to Kathmandu, which is in Nepal. And yeah, that's an interesting flight. Sort of came up by random on this one. I'm still using this tool. I'm going to show it to you. Flight Sim Dispatch, which is very cool. You can just filter for A310 routes, historic routes all throughout the world. And this is what really stood out to me. So flying Austrian Airlines 4443 in the summer of 1999. Departure time is 23:05. Although I'm flying winter time now, so I've actually made this 22:05. But never mind. And then we should get to Kathmandu 10:40 a.m. local, so somewhere in the morning hours. This will be very cool, I believe, and I'm quickly checking sim brief. So we have a flight time of 7 hours and 33 minutes today. I did some research on the Austrian A310 and actually only had 172 seats in there. It's not a lot if you think about it, but of course there was a certain amount of first class and business class seats as well. That's why it was not a lot, but only 172. I've put some cargo on top. So in the end we will be fairly close to max takeoff weight, about 5 tons shy of max takeoff weight today, being at a takeoff weight of 149 tons roughly. Right, so that's that for a start. Let's jump into the flight deck and start to prepare. Alrighty, so here we are. IRSs are not aligned yet. I've put them to nav up here. I did something I don't usually do, but this time I actually made IRS alignment instant. I had some troubles earlier on where the IRS alignment just takes for hours and hours, so this is why I've changed it a bit. And let's see if we can fetch our flight plan from SimBrief. There it is. Cool, I love this feature. And yeah, there's been a slight update to the A310. Weather has now moved over to EFB, which is very cool, and some minor changes, some sound tweaks and this kind of stuff. It works well, in my opinion. I was also now able to configure my throttle quadrant correctly, so this works as well. I still find it hard to handle this aircraft, especially during landing, but let's talk about this later on. I'm already making excuses for a bad landing, but that's still some hours away. So 4443 goes in here. Flight level 230, that's just initially on SimBrief. We will actually be at flight level 330. Also doing some above max flight level. Interesting. Okay, let's check this out in a bit. Let's put this to progress already. Alternate I have set up for a daily. I believe that it would be an alternate which Austrian would want to use. So that goes in there. Cost index. SimBrief is still a bit works different with that. Let's go 15. Some random number. Align IRS, and this should be instant now. Yeah, that's very convenient. Indeed. Okay, max climb level 329. I guess we will be able to make it to 330 once we departed. since this will burn a lot of fuel. But let's monitor it. I'm going to leave it at 330 for now. But if we can't get up there, then of course I will dial it down. So copy active to the secondary init, next page. Now we have the weights over here. Aircraft is loaded already. There it is. So zero fuel weight 104.7. Block fuel of 44.7. Giving us 104.9. Takeoff gross weight. Okay. And center of gravity 21.7. Like that. Alternate 7.9, that's a bit high. 5.7. It's actually quite far away. 1 hour and 27 minutes away. But okay. No worries. And final, SimBrief is giving me 1.8 instead of 2.2. I can't even change that in here. Okay, that's okay. Don't worry. Right, now, since boarding is completed, we won't take too long from now on. So let's actually go ahead and fire up the APU. Inner tank. Master switch. And APU start. Right, next up, let's kick all the flight controls to on so we can set up the MCP and everything. And now let's check the weather for the departure. Vienna, 4 knots from 050. Light showers and rain, few clouds 1400, scattered 1700, broken 1900, lots of clouds. 0 degrees, 1013. Okay, so this is potential icing conditions even. Let's think, if departure runway is 05 or wind is 050, I guess we will depart on runway 11. But they don't use that very often, do they? Okay, I just had a look at flight radar and they're actually departing runway 34 down here, so that will be a bit of a taxi, but that's fine of course. Addons departure. Let's see. And that's the RMP in the other direction. So we will use this one, and that will be the Addons 1 Delta. Climbing to runway heading 339 to 1700. Then right hand turn Whiskey Whiskey 388, Whiskey Whiskey 389, 390, Adama. Okay, initial climb clearance 5000, but we're flying offline today. Transition altitude 10,000. Okay. So 339, that goes in here. About the altitude, I will actually put it up to cruise since we are flying offline. Okay, let's put this in here. Flight plan, Vienna, sit, runway 34, Adama 1 Delta. Insert 1700 or above, and then right hand turn. Okay, looks okay to me. And now to the calculations. Let's put on the APU bleed. Now it's getting loud. And the flight deck. So departure, runway. So we can take full length 3600. Condition is wet. Runway heading, that's the one I got totally wrong the last time. I thought it was the slope, it's actually the heading, and now they've changed it for the dummies like me, I assume. So runway heading 339, wind 050 at 4, yeah, close enough. That's looking good. And then weight. The weight is 149.4. That is flaps 15, engine anti-ice on, air condition on, calculate. Okay, that's not working. Ah, okay, that's why. Temperature, flex temperature 44. Ah, nice. A lot of power for the takeoff. 151 or 156. And sledge retraction 215. Green dot speed 249. That's quite high, so I will actually go 250 in here. So 250, and then we have the right speed on here for the entire climb, which is kind of convenient. And let's go nav and profile for the departure. Constraints, constraints. Right. Thrust reduction, acceleration 2000. Yeah, I think that's okay. I could double check now the airport data, but I think that sounds about good to me. Okay, that's good. Now I think we are almost ready to go. Let's check the connections. One door is still open, but everything should be completed. So let's move ahead with all the overhead panel, and then we are good to go. All the fuel pumps coming on. That's the probe and window heats. I will put the beacons to on, seat belts, on smoking to auto. And now let's make sure door 1 is closed. We have the external power coming off, so chocks and GPU go away. Let's prepare for departure and pushback. Due to icing conditions, please stand by. Well, there's no snow on the aircraft or anything, so we don't need de-icing. Transponder 1000. Hello Captain, we are ready for pushback. TA, and let's run some checklists. Before start, cockpit prep is completed. Signs are on at auto. Fuel quantity. We have. Oh, it does not give me total value somewhere. 44.7, and that's balanced. Navigation is checked. Landing elevation is 0. Let's see. We can put it to local in case we need to come back. That's 580. 600. Altimeters are set 10 and facing east. Looking here. I think it was standard, right? 1013, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, that's linked, okay. Brake and anti-skid, that's normal and on. Windows and doors are closed. Beacons are on. Parking brake is on. Okay, have we missed anything? I hope not. Can we switch this one off? Release parking brake. That's better. Okay, let's go. I'm not sure what GSX is doing with my aircraft here. It's not ideal, but never mind. Right, so I would say we are okay to fire up the engines. Let's call it the first flight of the day and start engine number 1. It's fairly easy to get a hot start in these engines, so it's really worth to monitor what's happening, but it's looking good. Okay, 25% and 2 almost. Let's kick in the fuel. And also I want to set up some floodlights. I still have the dome light on, but I'm gonna kill this after pushback. It's hard to read. Where's the flood?
Set parking brake.
There is no floodlight over here.
Hot pitch to ground. We have a good engine start. You can disconnect. Unlocking gear.
Okay, starting engine number 2. Okay, bringing in the fuel.
Truck disconnected. Bypass pin removed. Left is clear, right is clear.
Yeah, EGT is coming down, the engine is stabilizing. Great! Great stuff. So ignition coming to off. APU bleed off. APU master off. Engine anti-ice on. Flaps 15-15. Max auto brake. Trim. Oh, it also shut down over here. Interesting. Trim is 2.1 up. So that's 1. That's 2 and a little bit 2.1 is set. This is coming to arm. Checklists. After start, pitch trim is set, rudder trim is 0, spoilers are armed, slats and flap 15-15, ECAM status is checked, we can check it. Total air temperature and icing range, yeah we know, parking brake on, seatbelts on, non-smoking, engine anti-ice on, yes, center tank feeding, yeah, makes sense. Hand signal received. Right, flight controls. Let's see, full left. Right, neutral, full up. Yeah, I've still limit. I have a bit of a null zone in there, so that's why it's not going all the way, but that's okay. Full down, rudder, full left, full right. There it is. That's checked. Briefing confirmed. Slats and flaps still 15-15. Performance is checked. 151. 250 manual thrust, profile climb and nav. Transponder is set almost cabin secure, TCAS TRI, yeah that's before the runway. Let's come back to that. Okay, taxi and turn off lights. Off we go, now I will kill the dome. And let's see, do we taxi? little bit, very slowly. But that's okay, since I haven't checked the taxi charts. So we are coming from here, we are going down on this one, which I believe is whiskey or something. Yeah, down here whiskey, then a left and turn all the way down on Echo. Oh, these charts are very slow. So whiskey Lima, no, whiskey Mike Echo actually. Whiskey Mike Echo. Alrighty, let's put a bit of power in. Okay folks, we're getting there. Bit of a long taxi, but finally made it. So TARA is set. Let's assume we are cleared for takeoff. So takeoff lights, landing lights, everything coming on. Back to the checklists. Okay, so cabin is secure. TCAS is TRA. PACs are on. Or on engines rather. Ignition is normal. Anti-ice is engine anti-ice on. So before takeoff checklist below the line is completed. It's a very dark night here in Vienna. It's hard to see anything at all. Right, so let's start the timer. And then we will kick off the very first Microsoft flights long haul. I am very, very excited about that. Okay, so we can keep it rolling. Let's bring in some power. Okay, engines are spooling up. Take off. Forward pressure on the yoke. I really like the engine sound, that's super cool. Nuts. Let's V1 rotate. Come on. And we are airborne. Pause of rate, gears coming up. Oh, that looks cool. Let's risk a very brief look. Nice evening departure. There's the terminal. Okay, let's focus on the flying. I'm a bit slow. Trimming out the aircraft. And that's 1,700 right there, so right hand turn. Trimming. Yeah, so that's what I find interesting. The aircraft is very overpowered in a way. It has very powerful engines. At least that's what we hear a lot from real pilots and stuff. But in the sim, it feels a little bit heavy. I'm not sure if that's intentional or if that has any other reasons. Okay, that was a nice manual flight right-hand turn. And let's give the aircraft a pitch to accelerate. Autopilot is on. Flaps up. Wow, we can't see anything there. That did not work as planned. Okay, gear off. spoilers, disarm. And that's the sleds retraction speed, so sleds up. Takeoff lights and turn off lights. And let's see, I think there were no further constraints on the departure. Let's see if we can take a direct 3600 is the sector altitude. So we can go direct Adama insert. Okay, and yeah, that looks good. Climbing up to or reaching 250 knots. After takeoff checklist, sleds and flaps are retracted, landing gear is up, and neutral packs are on engines. Altimeters are set to yeah, that's easy, local and standard, so that's checked as well. Okay, now I can't see the clouds out there. So I guess I will leave the engine anti-ice on for just a little bit longer to make sure we are not flying into any clouds. Right, and so we are climbing now. That was a fun departure, guys. At least for me. I hope you enjoyed it as well. And now we'll be cruising along for roughly 7 hours and then hopefully have a nice landing into Kathmandu later on. Enjoy the cruise! Hello flight simmers, welcome back for the arrival into Kathmandu. And yeah, before we get into the arrival, I have to make a bit of a disclaimer here. So usually when I do a flight, whether it's long or short, I do the flight from A to B. I don't necessarily pause, or I don't save in between. I just do the flight, record it as it is. So I have planned the same for this flight. However, I have to admit, the approach into Kathmandu caught me completely off guard. I was... well, first of all, I didn't look at the charts before we departed Vienna. That was the first mistake. If I had, I would have known that it's a VOR approach into Kathmandu. VOR approach in itself is nothing strange or complicated. However, not knowing the A310 as well as I know some other aircrafts, it just was much more difficult than I could have ever imagined. So I'm completely messed up the approach. I tried it several times after that, just to practice it, and yeah, I think it's really not so easy to fly it. So what I've done now, I still wanted to bring this video to you guys, especially because of the approach, and I've now brought the aircraft into a position which is similar to where we have been after the full flight from Vienna. So we are just descending towards our last waypoint, and then we will shoot the VOR approach into Kathmandu. We are approaching flight level 150. I will show you why in a second. Now I will also start to slow down. Let's go to 40 for now. So yeah, there are a bunch of approaches into Kathmandu, but the most common one is the VOR approach, judging from flight radar. First of all, we are coming into Simara VOR just now. We want to be flight level 150. Then we are heading to Rata and then Guras, where we need to be 11,500. From Guras, this is the VOR approach on 13.2. That's the Kathmandu VOR on Fine Course 022. And we're coming into Guras, 11,500. Then we have a few miles to descend to 9 mile VOR, mandatory 8,900. And from here on it gets very steep, 5.31 degrees down until to 3 miles, and then we sort of level out towards the normal final approach of 3 degrees. Minimums are 4,950. I have set that already. And so what we are aiming for here, since this is a very steep approach from 9 mile, we want to be fully configured for landing at 9 mile out. So latest at 9 mile out we have flaps full, gear down, everything set for the approach, and then we will just fly it down there best as we can. In case of a go round, sort of fly right hand, pass back almost over the airport and out towards Darky over here. Right, when we are going down on the final, I will need to monitor for every mile the altitude where we are at. I will do this on the second screen, since it gets a bit busy here to do it on this screen, so you will not see this, but I will monitor it yeah, on the other screen. And now what we need to do is, we are now at SMR VOR. I want to slow down a bit more. What caught me so much off guard on the first try is that I just came in way too fast, way too high. Didn't really work out as planned. So I think the goal for this approach is really to take it nice and slow. Let's go sleds 15. We should see those sleds coming out slightly, yeah. That's looking good. Right, and then we will of course, well, we could technically stay in nav mode, but since we have the VOR tuned, we might as well switch to VOR localizer in a second. Okay, so that's flaps 15, and also we want to start our descent down to 11,500, like that. Right, that's looking good. In the meantime, approach checklist signs are on, and let's put them on and on. Briefing is completed. ECAM status is checked. Altimeters are set. Not set, sorry. Let's check. 1020. Like that. And yeah, weather is just 7 kilometers of visibility, wind just 3 knots, fuel clouds 2000. So honestly, if we don't have a visual on the runway, it could happen. If we don't have a visual, we need to go around and then potentially shoot for the RMP approach or something. Let's see how it works out. Then we have ignition is normal, that's fine, and landing elevation is set 4,400 over here. Right, this is, oops, sorry, this is armed, that's good. Yeah. And see this, yeah, there you can see why it's so difficult. So we have high terrain here, then we are behind this mountain ridge, we are descending towards Kathmandu. We can already see the clouds hanging in there in that valley, and behind that we have the huge Himalaya, the mountains coming up there. Really, really interesting terrain. Okay, now turning towards Guras, which is now 7 miles out. So now we are nice and slow, but that's really on purpose. As I've said, doing this approach too quick and coming in too fast, that really broke my neck on the first couple of tries. So by the way, auto brake slow. it's a decently long runway, and the A310 slows down so well on the ground, so that should easily work out. Okay, let's give it flaps 20. Can do speed 160. So we are on altitude hold. Next altitude will be 8,900. 8,900. Yeah, and here you can see why we can't fly it on managed mode or on automated mode, since the profile is too steep for the autopilot to do a good job. That's why we need to fly it manually. Okay, now let's also move over to the roads. Here you can see our VOR, and now we can go VOR localizer. VOR star. It's making some weird adjustments. It's not at all what it should do. Okay, I guess that did not work out as planned. No idea why the aircraft decided to do that, but I mean, what is it doing here? Where is it going even? I'm just leaving it in, just curious where it wants to go, but no way I'm doing that. Yeah, so just one more thing that freaks me out. I think it's a bug. It has to be a bug. I can't ever imagine that the real aircraft would do stuff like that. I mean, we're clearly on VOR mode. We have 113.2 dialed. Final course 022. That's exactly what we want to do. Strange. Really, really strange. So I think there's still some refinement needed on the A310. Okay, now we're 20 miles out again. Okay, let's try this again. VOR star. No, like why? You haven't even captured it. So again, this is looking good. Let's try this again one last time. You are blue. You are star. You should turn left, aircraft. What are you doing? We're gonna try this in nav mode now. Let's go level change. Let's go flaps full. So flaps landing gear. Sorry, my bad. That for once was not the fault of the aircraft. Final approach speed 140. By the way, all the lights haven't done that. Let's switch everything we need to on, and we don't have to worry about later on. So this is set. So again, we want to be 8,900 at 9 miles. Now we are 12 miles. Alt star. Let's do speed 145. If we descend 5 knots faster than final approach speed, I think that's fine. Don't want to get too close to the critical speeds. Okay, 10 miles. So coming to 9 miles, we need to descend with roughly 1,500 feet per minute. So that's 9.5, 9.4. Let's start now. Vertical speed 1,500. 9 miles, 8,900 is checked. Okay, now we're descending into the fog. Okay, let's see how this works out. I will now monitor the altitudes. 8 miles, we want to be 8,340. We are way too high. Let's correct for that. Also, let's now slow down 140. 7 miles, we want to be 7,770. Which is now, so still 400 feet high. 6 miles, we want to be 7,210. I think it's getting better. Which is now 200 feet high. 5 miles, we want to be 6,640. Miles, yeah, 100 feet high, it's okay. We are getting there. Now I need to prep for the landing, and then we need to look out for the runway as well, so it gets really busy here. I will kill the auto thrust now. And then from 3 miles on we can shallow out on the descent. Let's see, we are 4 miles. 5,900, we want to be 6,080, okay, so we are on profile. Let's level out a bit, 1,200 to monitor the speed. And now it would be really cool if we could see a runway, at least some lighting. Minimums are coming close, 4,950 is the minimum. Speed is getting low, correcting. Okay, now we're basically on the final approach, 700 feet per minute. That's basically our minimum now. Can we see something? I think we are a bit low. There's the runway, I can see it. Okay, let's call that a visual. Hardly, but I think it's... yeah, there it is. It's okay. Disconnect. I think I was a bit low shallowing out on this descent. But it's a lot of work to bring the aircraft down on this one. Crazy stuff.
300.
Ooh, the callouts are new. I think that's with the update, the recent one. Yeah, so definitely coming in too shallow here. I hope we don't hit any rooftops. Still a bit slow. Slow and low.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10. 5.
Okay, there we are. Touchdown was okay. Okay, reverse. Decel. Oh, my rudder is very sensitive. Okay, slowing down, manual braking. Let's take the next one. Idle forward. Whew. Okay. It's a handful, guys. This approach, oh my god. I think it was now the 6th or 7th try I gave it. Crazy stuff. I think definitely makes sense to try this approach when we have a shared cockpit function and have two pilots fly it. Makes much more sense. Okay, let's do some cleanups and we will find us a parking spot. Oh, it looks like I want to drop off a cliff if I go too far. There's interesting stuff going on in this airport. Vehicles dropping in and out. Okay. Okay, let's hold it here. Parking brake. APUs available, killing engines 1 and 2. APU bleed. Fuel pumps, we will leave one of them on for the APU. Window heat, probe heat, seat belts and non-smoking, beacon lights. Like that, and then stand by. After landing checked, so I forgot this one, but we did all that. Parking, APU bleed is on, engine off, differential pressure is 0, lights and signs as required, fuel pumps are off, window and probe heater off, parking brake and shocks as required. Alright, let's ask for deboarding.
Deboarding requested.
Alright folks, so welcome to Kathmandu again, and yeah, what should I say, if you're looking for a challenging approach in the A310, I think this one will do just fine, although it's technically just a simple VOR approach with a bit of a steeper descent, but boy oh boy, that really cost me some nerves, I gotta be honest with you. And yeah, on top of this, I feel like the aircraft is a bit buggy, honestly. On the first few tries, at least I got the VOR capture to work. Now this one did not work at all. And we can fly to the left more as well, but still, sometimes the aircraft is doing weird things. And then I think we were a bit too low coming in for the final approach. But yeah, never mind. We finally made it down to Kathmandu. The aircraft is fun to fly. It opens up for a whole new possibility of routings and interesting flights such as this one, but I really hope that iniBuild will keep working on this one, but I'm quite sure they will do that. So yeah, I hope you have enjoyed the A310 long haul, and I will see you around for the next video. Take care everyone, bye bye.